They really don't like this woman. She's a good communicator. And so Joy Behar just offered her analysis on why Leavitt was...
4 weeks, the women of The View brushed off Karoline Leavitt's massive $800 million lawsuit as little more than a publicity stunt. On air, they laughed, mocked, and rolled their eyes, treating it like a passing joke from a conservative desperate for attention. But now things have changed, and quickly. Reports suggest the very same hosts who once ridiculed the case are panicking behind closed doors, with some even rumored to be urging Leavitt to walk away before it goes any further. So what caused this sudden shift? When the lawsuit was first announced, the mood on set was one of smug confidence. Joy Behar, dripping with sarcasm, dismissed it outright with her usual jab about conservatives playing the victim, complete with a dramatic eye roll. Whoopi Goldberg barely bothered to engage, tossing out a mocking please, as if the case wasn't worth a second thought. Even Sunny Hostin, the panel's resident legal voice, shut it down without hesitation, declaring it had no real chance in court. At first, their confidence seemed justified. Outlets like CNN and MSNBC echoed the same message, branding the lawsuit as baseless and frivolous. Legal analysts piled on, calling it little more than an attempt to silence free speech. The narrative was clear: the lawsuit wouldn't last long. But beneath the surface, things weren't so simple. Behind the stage lights, the rehearsed laughter, and the dismissive tone, unease was growing. What seemed like an easy story to shrug off has snowballed into something much larger. One that now has both ABC executives and The View hosts scrambling to contain the fallout.
See you. So do me a favor, don't pull it out again. I'd appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Behind the cameras, ABC's legal department wasn't laughing. They were sweating. While The View's hosts carried on as if nothing was happening, the lawyers upstairs had dug into Karoline Leavitt's $800 million lawsuit line by line. And what they found rattled them. This wasn't the flimsy, attention-seeking stunt the hosts had mocked on air. The claims were detailed, the evidence organized, and the defamation arguments far stronger than anyone had expected. There were direct quotes, documented receipts, and supporting witness statements. Even if only part of it stood up in court, the fallout could be catastrophic. Multiple insiders say ABC's attorneys immediately raised red flags. Emergency meetings were called, late-night strategy sessions became routine, and executives began whispering about the possibility of settlements. The laughter on set masked a far different reality: panic in the boardroom. The legal team was scrambling. They weren't treating this like a publicity stunt. They were treating it like a genuine threat that could drag the network through years of courtroom battles and drain millions. Hosts who once brushed off the lawsuit were now being coached on how to tread carefully on air. As one insider put it, "We take all legal matters with the utmost seriousness and are committed to addressing them in a thorough and professional manner." Translation: ABC knew they were in trouble. This wasn't tabloid fodder or a conspiracy cooked up for attention. It was backed by documentation, memos, and sworn testimony. And that made it dangerous. This wasn't an empty threat. It was a defamation case with teeth. Karoline Leavitt's legal team wasn't bluffing. They were moving like they had nothing to lose, while ABC had everything to protect. The days of brushing it off as a stunt were over. One insider put it bluntly: "There's real weight to this, and they weren't exaggerating." Once ABC's legal team reviewed the complaint, the network went into full-blown panic mode. And the stakes were bigger than just money. If this lawsuit made it to trial, Discovery could pry open private emails, internal memos, behind-the-scenes recordings, exposing conversations and footage never meant to see daylight. Suddenly, the fear wasn't just about defamation. It was about what else might be uncovered. Inside ABC leadership, a split emerged. One camp, the fighters, wanted to take Leavitt head-on in court, convinced they could dismantle the claims and protect the brand. The other camp, the realists, knew better. They'd seen what happens when corporate secrets spill into the public record. To them, a quick, quiet settlement was the only safe option. Meanwhile, the hosts were still cracking jokes on camera, completely unaware that the executives upstairs were making moves without them. When word finally trickled down that ABC was seriously considering cutting a deal with Leavitt, the reaction was explosive. For Whoopi Goldberg, the panel's anchor, it was a personal humiliation. 4 weeks she'd mocked the lawsuit, dismissing it with sarcasm and laughter. Now her own network was contemplating paying Leavitt off. Whoopi was blindsided and furious. She wasn't alone. Other hosts felt betrayed, their confidence shattered. What had started as a courtroom battle now morphed into an internal power struggle, between talent and executives, ego and pragmatism, denial and reality. The lawsuit wasn't just a legal fight anymore. It was tearing at the very core of ABC's leadership and exposing the fragile power balance behind The View. The dynamics inside ABC were reaching a breaking point. Whoopi Goldberg was livid, and this time it wasn't for show. In a tense, closed-door meeting with top executives, she erupted. "Are you kidding me? We're actually taking her seriously?" she shouted, her voice slicing through the room. For Whoopi, this wasn't just a lawsuit. It was a betrayal. For decades, she had been the face of The View, the anchor who endured firestorms of controversy, social media pile-ons, and endless cultural battles. Through it all, ABC had stood by her. Now, to even consider bowing to Karoline Leavitt felt like the network turning its back on her. This wasn't about money anymore. It was about her legacy. Joy Behar's reaction was equally explosive. She stormed into her dressing room, slamming her makeup kit onto the counter so hard that brushes scattered across the floor. "We built this damn show," she snapped. "We made this network millions, and now they're folding over some stupid lawsuit?" Red-faced and shaking, Joy couldn't fathom how, after years of loyalty and ratings success, ABC could even think about throwing them under the bus. To her, this wasn't damage control. This was war. Sunny Hostin, usually the steady hand, wasn't her composed self either. Her legal instincts told her what no one else wanted to admit. Leavitt's case wasn't flimsy, it was airtight. She had reviewed the complaint, the transcripts, the emails, the sworn statements. What unsettled her most wasn't just the evidence. It was how much of it touched their private conversations, remarks never meant to go public. Sunny knew what discovery could unleash. Every off-camera comment, every heated exchange backstage, every joke whispered in confidence, dragged into the courtroom and projected for the world to see. This wasn't just about a defamation claim. It was about their reputations, their careers, their entire legacies. And for the first time, the women of The View realized they weren't just panelists on a talk show anymore. They were targets in a legal battle that could define the rest of their lives. Then came the twist no one saw coming. In a frantic attempt to regain control, The View's producers scrambled to slap together a last-minute damage control segment. The idea was simple: soften the rhetoric, frame the whole ordeal as a misunderstanding, and cast the hosts as victims of a manufactured